Hello and welcome to Vision Economics Academy. Today we'll continue with chapter number 2, Consumers Equilibrium of Class 11 Microeconomics. The topic of discussion today is the budget line. Okay, we have already finished marginal utility analysis and we have already started the ordinal utility analysis. And in the previous episode, we have covered indifference curve. Now, today we will do budget line, which is a lead up to the consumer equilibrium through indifference curve analysis. Now, we all have a fixed or a limited amount of budget, and through that, we as a consumer have to decide what to buy and how much quantity to buy to satisfy our needs. That is consumer behavior, right? Now, what budget line shows is that you have a certain amount of money as income, and there are two goods and their prices are also given, right? The prices are given, your income is given. Having given the income and the prices of the two goods, what all combinations of the two goods is it possible for a consumer to buy? Realistically speaking, there will not be only two goods that we will be consuming. But just to understand this theory, this concept, to simplify it, we have taken two goods. Okay, as indifference curve analysis can be seen through two commodities. All right. Now, what is budget line then? I've already explained. Then, formally, a definition goes that it's a graphical representation of all possible combinations of two goods which can be purchased, right, with given income and price of the commodity, right? Okay, so what is a budget line? Budget line is a graphical representation of all the possible combinations of goods, okay, of two goods which can be purchased, which is possible for a consumer to purchase with the given income and price of the two goods. So let us consider in our hypothetical example that the price of apple, there are two goods, before that there are two goods. Two goods, that is one apple and banana, like we had taken in the last class also. I am continuing with the same example. So apple is costing 4 rupees per unit and banana is costing 2 rupees per unit, right? Then our total income, let's say, is rupees 20. Let's say our total income is rupees 20. And now the assumption goes that the total money income that we have, we need to spend everything in buying the two goods, right? In reality, we save, we invest, but when we are dealing with this, we have taken the assumption that we entirely spend our income on the two goods, on different combinations of two goods, whatever it is possible with a given income. Okay, so hypothetically we are taking 20 rupees as our income, money income, price of apple as 4, banana as 2. Now what are combinations of each good is possible to buy? Now first, with 4 rupees per unit we can buy 5 apples. 5 into 4 is 20. So all the 20 rupees is spent, and before that we'll see the algebraic formulation of budget line. So total money income equals to price of A into quantity of A plus price of B into quantity of B, right? So it just simply shows the cost, right? Now, remember you are spending entirety of your money income. First possibility A, 5 units of apple can be purchased, right? If one purchases 5 units of apple, 5 into 4 is 20, then we will be able to produce, we'll be able to consume only or purchase 0 bananas, right? So 20. Okay, The objective is to spend the entirety of the money income. Now, the next combination that is possible is if we buy 4 units of banana, that is 4 into 4, 16, plus banana is 2 rupees per unit, right? Banana is 2 rupees per unit. So 2 into 2 is 4, 16 plus 4 again is 20. Okay? Henceforth, if we can buy, the other combination is that we can buy 3 units of apple. So 3 units of apple is 4 into 3, because price is at the front. 4 into 3, 12, plus 2 into 4, 8, that is also 20. Now the other combination, combination D, 2 units of apple, 4 into 2, 8, plus 2 into 6 of banana, that is 12, that is again 20. In the same way, 4 into 1, 4, plus 2 into 8 gives us 16, that is 20. And the other possible combination is we use entire income to buy the bananas, that is 2 into 10, that is 20, and we'll be able to buy 0 apples, right? Okay, so these are A, B, C, D, E, F. These are the 6 possible combinations of goods, of these 2 goods that we can buy possibly, with the income being 20 rupees and the price of each good being 4 and 2 respectively. Okay, now we will plot the budget line. Okay, so let's start with combination A, that is 5 units of apple and 0 units of banana, so it will be here. Then 4 units of apple, 2 units of banana, it will be somewhere around here. Then 3 units of apple, 4 units of banana. Okay, then 2 units of apple, 6 units of banana. Okay, then 0 units of banana, 1 units of apple, 8 units of banana, and 0 apple and 10 banana. Now, if we connect these points, now let us see, this is combination A, this is B, this is C, D, E, and F. Now let us join these dots, these points, we get the budget line. Okay, so A to F is the budget line. So these combinations that we can possibly buy is shown through this graphical representation. Now let us see what slope of a budget line is. Slope of a budget line. Slope of budget line is nothing but units of banana willing to sacrifice, okay, by units of apple willing to gain. Simple as that, right? How much of banana you are willing to sacrifice to gain more of apple? Change in B by change in A. So, as apple is 4 rupees per unit and banana is 2 rupees, in order to have one more apple, we have to sacrifice 2 units of banana, right? As apple is 4 rupees per unit and banana is only 2 rupees. So to have one more apple, we need to sacrifice 2 bananas, right? So likewise, in the same way, the slope of budget line is 2. Change in B by change in A. Now, budget line is also known as market rate of exchange, because this is the rate at which one commodity is exchanged for the other, right? Now, it is also known as price ratio. Sometimes the question may come, why market rate of exchange is also known as price ratio or is represented by the price ratio, then we can simply say that what is price ratio? Price of apple by price of banana. One apple costs 4 rupees, one banana costs only 2 rupees. So in order to have one more apple, we need to sacrifice 2 bananas, right? So rightly the price ratio will be 4 by 2 equals to 2. So the slope of budget line and price ratio is the same. So budget line can also be known as market rate of exchange. Is the rate at which you exchange one commodity for the other at the market, or slope of budget line or price ratio. So these are the other names, right, for budget line. Now we will do properties of budget line. Okay, having done that, we'll see the shift and rotation in the budget line, and finally we'll end this chapter with consumer equilibrium through indifference curve approach, wherein we'll use both the concept of indifference curve and budget line. So the properties of budget line, okay, downward sloping, it is downward sloping, there's nothing much in the budget line, right? So it is downward sloping, as we have already done the budget line, we have already plotted the budget line, okay, few minutes back. A and B is the budget line, okay, right? So budget line is downward sloping, that means it is negatively sloped. Why it is negative slope? Again, because of the inverse relation, simple as that. In order to increase this commodity, we have to sacrifice the other commodity, right? So there is a negative slope. Now the budget line is a straight line. Why it is a straight line? Budget line is represented by the straight line because price ratio is constant throughout. So few minutes back only we have done what price ratio is and the slope of the budget line and marginal market rate of exchange. So it is a straight line because price ratio is constant throughout. As we know, the price of the two goods are already given, and throughout it will remain the same. So the exchange rate of the two goods will also remain the same. So that's the reason why price ratio is constant throughout, because of which budget line is a straight line. Now we will do shift and rotation in the budget line. So let us first see shift in the budget line. BL, I'll denote it by BL. Okay, so this is the graph. Let x-axis be apple, y-axis be banana. Okay, let us suppose AB is the initial budget line, right? Now what will happen, or what will be the effect of change in income of the consumer to the budget line? If the income of the consumer increases, then the consumer will be able to have more combinations of both of goods. So the budget line will shift towards right. Okay, and if the income of the consumer diminishes, then the budget line will shift towards the left. Okay, if the income increases, budget line will shift towards the right. It will become BA1, BA2. So if the income increases, the consumer will be able to have more of both the goods, right? So it will shift towards the right. And if the income diminishes, the consumer will be able to have less of both the goods. So the budget line will shift towards the left. Okay, now we'll see the rotation in budget line. Suppose again this is the budget line. Initial is BA. If the price of the apple if price of the apple, okay, let's say, suppose the second effect is effect of change in price of apple. So if the price of the apple changes, let's say for example if the price of the apple increases, okay, then we will be able to the consumer will be able to have less of apple. So the budget line will shift towards left, rotates towards the left from BA to BA1, okay. If the price of the apple decreases with price of banana remaining the same, it will rotate towards the right, BA2, okay. In a similar way, thirdly we'll see the effect of change in price of banana, okay. So again, this is the budget line BA, okay. This is banana, y-axis, apple is in x-axis. BA being the initial budget line, if the price of the banana increases, then we'll be able to have less of banana, and the budget line will shift towards the left. There will be B1A, and if the price of banana decreases, we'll be able to have more of banana, right? So the budget line will rotate towards the right, to B2A, okay. Now let me just conclude this, summarize this in a brief. Properties of budget line: downward sloping because of obviously inverse relationship. The straight line because the price ratio is constant throughout, because market rate of exchange will be constant as the price is same, right? For both the price remains the same. Then we saw shift in budget line, how effect of change, how the income affects the budget line. So increase in income shift towards right, decrease in income shift towards left. Then we have rotation in budget line, that is the effect through the change of the price of apple, okay. If the price of the apple increases, the apple can be less, the consumer can purchase less apple, so rotates towards the left. If the price of the apple decreases, consumer can have more of apple, rotates towards the right. In the same way, here there is a change in the price of banana. If banana becomes cheaper, the consumer will be able to have more of banana, then it will rotate towards the right. If the banana becomes costlier, then the consumer will be able to have less of banana, hence shifting towards the left. So finally, we have finished up with the concept of budget line, and we have finished up with the concept of indifference curve as well. Okay, now let us see indifference curve through consumer equilibrium through indifference curve approach. Now we have come towards the end of the chapter. We'll conclude with consumer equilibrium through indifference curve analysis. So all this indifference curve and budget line, what all concepts that we all have covered till now, culminates in this, right? Now, what are the conditions that's required for consumer to be in equilibrium through indifference curve approach? Right? There are two conditions. One is a marginal rate of substitution, xy, x and y, let x and y be two goods, good x and good y. Okay, taking x and y as two goods, marginal rate of substitution of these two goods. Now, what is marginal rate of substitution? Marginal rate of substitution is the slope of indifference curve that we have covered in previous episode, right? If you remember, and if you have any doubt, you can visit that particular episode and revise it once, so that you'll be able to understand this. MRS, marginal rate of substitution of x and y good, should be equal to ratio of prices or Px by Py, X and Y again being two goods, or marginal rate of exchange. So what is marginal rate of exchange or price ratio? That is nothing but budget line. Okay, so when the indifference curve and budget line are equal, at that point consumer's equilibrium is achieved. Okay, so when does indifference curve and marginal rate of exchange are equal? When it is equal, it's equal when the MRS XY is tangent to the budget line. You see? Okay, then second condition is that MRS should continuously fall. Okay, once the equilibrium is also achieved, then after that the MRS should continuously fall. That means indifference curve should be downward sloping. It should be downward sloping continuously. Okay, now let's consider this diagram. Y-axis being commodity Y, X-axis being commodity X. Right? Now we have three indifference curves. 1 indifference curve, 2, indifference curve 3. Right? Now the indifference curve 1 is achievable, but again a rational consumer would always want highest level of satisfaction. Since the consumer will be able to get higher level of satisfaction at IC2, they will not take the IC1. Now IC3, any consumer would want higher level of satisfaction, but IC3 is not possible with the budget that the consumer has. So with the budget that the consumer has and the level satisfaction that they can derive is exactly of indifference curve 2. So when the budget line is tangent to indifference curve 2 at the point E, this is the equilibrium point. This is the equilibrium point. Okay? The consumers attain equilibrium when the consumer is purchasing OY unit of commodity Y and OM unit of commodity X. Okay? So the consumer is at equilibrium at point E, where the consumer is purchasing OM unit of commodity Y, OM unit of commodity X. So the indifference curve analysis, the consumer equilibrium through indifference curve analysis has two conditions. Both the conditions are fulfilled at this point, as your MRS XY, that is indifference curve, is equal to budget line, and MRS is continuously falling. After this point E also, MRS, you can see it's continuously falling. Okay, so this is the equilibrium point where both the conditions are fulfilled. Thus we come to the end of the chapter, and in the next week I'll also be starting Tayari boards ka, that is for class 12. I'll be starting class 12's chapter from macro. Okay, and we'll study together, we'll prepare together for the next year board exam. Please like and support like you have always been. Okay, thank you for subscribing and supporting my channel, and those who have not subscribed it yet, please do hit the subscribe button and support my channel. Thank you. Namaskar.